Tere, podcast 442, nagu alati, minu nimi on Ivan, mu kõrval on.
Tere, mina Maarja.
Me räägime Eesti jalgpallist ja täna on eriline episood 3 põhjusel. Esimene põhjus, kõige tähtsam on see, et me ei ole stuudios, me oleme külas ETP talent Projektil. Üritame aru saada, kas ja kuidas see üldse aitab Eesti jalgpalli. On ju. Episood on ka inglise keeles igaks juhuks, sest et me räägime Thomas Maibaumiga, kes püüab meile siis selgitada enda esiteks, kuidas ta siia sattus Eesti jalgpalli ja mida see üldse endast kujutab. Ja kolmandaks põhjuseks, miks eriline on, et kell on 7:28 hommikul, ma arvan, et sellist ohverdust me ei ole kunagi teinud Eesti jalgpalli nimel.
No profisport ja profiajakirjandus on ikkagi väga raske töö, et milleks kõigeks me valmis pole.
Kuulge, aga me sätime ennast vaikselt istuma Toomasega, te vaadake siis, kuidas Eesti andekavad jalgpallurid trenni teevad. Okay, Thomas, we'll have this episode in English, but how's your Estonian?
I'm shy. Yeah, I'm shy. No, it's getting better. It's getting better. I study. Ma õpin iga päev, aga eesti keelt on raske. Due to all these cases, I'm sure there are like 14 cases here, and every word changes in different contexts, so that makes it a bit difficult.
Sorry, you'll miss your class because of us today.
Yeah, my teacher won't be happy.
Okay, let's hope our listeners will be happy at least. Let's maybe shortly talk about you. Like you're from Germany here.
Yep.
Maybe short background, how you came into football, what you did in Germany, how you got here.
Yeah. I think German football culture is huge, so everyone gets in touch with football, I think, in early age. So already when I went to school, my backpack was from Borussia Mönchengladbach. So then at some point I managed to work for this club. With 16 I've started to be a youth coach. With 21 then I stepped to Borussia, like a huge academy in our region. I worked there for 8 years. At some point, it was clear that we go separated ways, and I met.
Sorry. For Germany, I need to specify. You started at 16.
As a youth coach, yeah.
As a youth coach, and how old were the guys? And you were not alone, probably in this group.
No, I had another coach, like a bit older guy. Yeah, but. Things are a bit different in Germany. I think quite often it happens either that dads are the youth coaches or young guys starting. And I did it for like 5 years as a volunteer. Even when I went, I just stayed 1 year in my hometown club. And 1 year later, I went already to the biggest amateur club. And I think this club is comparable with the clubs here in Estonia. From the number of players, from the financial volume and so on, or background. And I did it as a volunteer. So I got 4 years, 50 euros.
Okay.
Per month.
Okay.
And this one I even gave away to my assistant coach because he had the car and I didn't have. So.
But how hard is to get this chance as a voluntary coach in Mönchengladbach?
No, at Borussia was not a voluntary job anymore. Then I got paid not full time. It was like a part-time job, or even less than this. In Germany, the payment system is a bit different. Due to good work, I think and I hope. It was not that I had some big connections there. Of course, we played against Borussia and we had always quite good teams and we could compete. And that's why at some point I got a call if I would not be interested to come to a meeting, to a job interview. And then, I started as a under 10 assistant coach. And then step by step I climbed a bit.
But as a 16, you were was it like your own club where you started?
Yeah, in my hometown club.
Okay.
It was like a village club. But I was lucky that from start right away I had some good boys. Yeah, so we had directly quite a good team. 1 year I worked there. And then I went straight away to the biggest amateur club. They offered me a job there. And I did 2 teams at the same time. Then with 18, I was in this big amateur club doing youth work and took over the men's team from my hometown club in lower amateur league clubs, and was of course a great experience with 18, 19, 20. I was there for 2 years.
How old they were, 30 years old?
Some year. It was great experience, of course, but it worked very well. We promoted, we got a promotion in the first year. In the second year we stayed up, so it was quite successful. And then I went to Borussia and stopped. Then I stopped working at this amateur club fully.
Okay, so then you worked probably in different with different groups in Borussia, right? And then let's come to this point where you came to Estonia. How this happened? How this possibly can happen?
Life is a box of chocolate, like Tom Hanks says. I met at a tournament in Vilnius, Nõmme United. We played against each other and we were in the same hotel and we played with the coaches and the players in the evening table tennis. And one of the dads came like 2 and 3 times if we are not interested, the coaches, to join their like coaches' parents group to talk a bit. And I was actually not so interested, but my assistant coaches said, okay, come, let's go. And then we met this group and we got along quite well. And the next evening as well, we sat together, discussed a bit about football, watched some football together. And I invited this group then to Mönchengladbach. So they had an internship for a couple of days there. And so step by step we got into contact. They invited me here, so I have spent some days in Tallinn, watched everything, and when it was clear that I will leave Borussia, then one thing came to another, and now I'm here.
So
maybe 2 years.
Decided to not to stay in Germany, but you decided to go to other country.
Yeah. First of all, like I'm on my own, so nothing to lose, no risk anyway. And the decision to leave the club was made quite late. So in Europe, the contract starts in July, and the decision was made in the end of June. So it was also not that like 1,000 clubs were waiting for me. We have to be honest about it. Like the competition in Germany is very high. Mm-hmm. So especially if you talk about these full-time jobs. So we were very successful at Borussia, no doubts about it. But at this point, it was not like that I had 10 job offers, and I was just open to do something completely new. Yeah, and now I'm here.
Obviously, it's a very different world, but when you arrived here, what was your first expectations about Estonian youth football? It's maybe some things surprised you in a positive way or in a negative way?
My expectations, that's a good question. First of all, I knew already because of my trip here and all the talking, so we had on the chats that here are highly motivated boys, and the main core of the Nõmme United teams was like this. I think now we have just boys like that. So that was from the start right away a topic. If you have, of course, a coach with high demands, coming from a big academy to Estonia, not everyone in this club had this same high standards or want to bring that much. And that's why there was, of course, always kind of tension. And it's probably there still sometimes is. Yeah. And I think other clubs have maybe the same thing, that we do not have in every team like 20 players who want to make it as a professional, but where do you set the standard? I mean, like, are you focused on this 10 boys who want to make it, or there are other 10 who just want to play football? Yeah. But step by step, I think we made here like big steps. One thing what surprised me and what I did not like at all, to be honest, was when we played the first game here. Nõmme United was already quite okay, but the other team came here with a bus, but everyone stepped out in his like casual outfits, like street outfit, and I was like, "Well, are we? Is it a class trip or is it a football team?" Yeah. And this is one thing we changed here straight away. And with this ETP project, I'm also very focused on it. And not all the boys from the other clubs are used to it. That we have a certain outfit. Like we look like a football team. On the pitch we have an outfit. If we go somewhere, we have another outfit, like a polo shirt and like a proper presentation pants or shorts or whatever. And just the professionalism, I think that's the biggest difference. Or was the biggest difference.
Right. I think we'll talk later about Estonian youth football, but then like, is it like this ETP project which you run, one of the runners, right? One of the coaches there. Is this something which came out of of this? Who was the initiative of this idea?
Nikita Matyonov, the head of youth of Levadia, or sports director of Levadia's academy youth side, and me, we're getting along quite well, and we had once a meeting, or actually lunch, and just discussed about the situations. And we're both working in different age groups, but also the 2012 age group. And in 8 versus 8, 7 versus 7, like small-sided games, we were in Europe very competitive. Yeah, like both teams, I think, managed to beat like huge academies and dominating on the top level. But as soon as we step with Estonian teams on the 11 versus 11 big pitch, things changing, and we do not have the width in the squads. So that's why we discussed about it, that it might make sense to work together. And then one came to another, like step by step, we created the idea more and more. We got more clubs involved. And we started, for example, with Ragnar Klavan, like his son is playing for Viimsi, Ramar, good boy. So we contacted Ragnar because of Kalev, then because of the son. So we had meetings with Martin Reim about Viimsi, and so on. And now we are at the point where we get more and more clubs involved. That means like the selection of the players gets bigger. And we are hopefully doing better and better.
But as you said, several clubs have joined this project.
Yeah.
But how do you scout these players? Do you use some specific data or coach's point of view, which players select?
Like no data. I think this thing in Estonia is anyway not that like far. I think the first teams maybe working a bit with Y-Scout or something like this, but in youth work not at all. I would say, at least we don't do it here in Nõmme. First of all, we are playing in those leagues. Yeah, we have the coaches like I am every weekend into the 10th group, 12th group, 11th group. So we see those players, and of course we're talking to the clubs. I mean, we're talking to the clubs, asking for their opinions, who should be here. Then we are open to give these players a chance.
When you go to those tournaments, who is the head coach of the team?
It depends on the age group. On the age group. Like I'm mainly the organizer right now. Of course, I'm active in all the trainings, but we try to do it like this, that the boys in the ETP project do not have the same coaches as they have in their normal clubs and teams. That means in 2010's age group, Martin Klaasen is the head coach. 2011's it's Atko Vaikmari there currently. So that there is the case that he has the 2011's age group in Nõmme and trains then also here with 11s. Nikita Matjona for 2012's and Timo Bulavkin and Mark Pillester are working with the 2013s. So we have like coaches from 3 different clubs right now.
Some might say like, hey, Thomas wants just to scout opponents and to know opponents better.
No. Like we have a clear agreement with the clubs that we don't actively try to get the players here who are like from the clubs who are involved. Overall, I would say that the Estonian football has to learn that there is a transfer culture, and in youth football also, because the best boys should be together. But our purpose is not at all that we bring like all the boys now to Levade, all the boys to Nõmme or something like this. So we had one case where one of the players from another club called me and because they want to move to Tallinn, they're living outside, and so they had the interest to maybe join Nõmme. The first thing what I, after this call, did was calling the club and told them what is going on. Yeah, and I would rather use it in another way around, that if a club is a part of ETP, then there is less reason to join one of the clubs who is already a part of ETP, because then if a player wants to go to big tournaments to have very good friendly games, then if you're already part of it, then there's less reason or behind to join maybe one of those clubs.
You said before the training that not all of the guys could come. Why?
Yeah, correct.
What was the reason?
Usually the group of 2010s has currently like 26 players. But we went last week to England, so the boys missed already 4 days of school. And since the school year comes to an end now, there are some exams. That's one of the reasons that the boys have to go to school, because they have missed already quite a lot. Then Nõmme United plays tomorrow a Baltic League game. That means that our boys, for example, left the session a bit earlier. Some of them were like slightly injured, so we left them out today. Yeah, that's the reason.
So usually it's like 26, a group of 26 players.
Yeah, roundabout. Like in the full group of 26, of course. It's rarely that all the players are here at the same time. I think that's like in every football team, of course. But the whole group has 26 players currently. Yeah.
Okay. So the intensity of the sessions is always the same, or today?
No, depends. Today we work much more in individual groups. Like we anyway work like quite small in groups, always position specific mostly. Today it was like very small due to the numbers. Very focused on technique, just repetition. That we have a lot of touches. Now the boys went to play like small-sided games. Yeah.
But what's the initial, like, in general, like the initial idea of this project? Like, is it like to select the best ones and to improve them, to grant them maybe a better chances in the career, or that's the main idea?
I would say that in Estonia we do not have a single real academy. Yeah. So, like I said in the start, every club has some good boys, some more, some less. But if not every duel in the training is like a competitive one, then it's not the best environment for the players. I believe in those changes. That means that on one day you have to push yourself to the limit, means the environment for you is very difficult and tough. And maybe on the other day, you are the boss on the pitch and you have to prove and to carry the team and to show that you are the best one. So this is what I believe in. In Estonian football, like the only path for me, at least what I have seen, is like, oh, let's send it to all the boys, or to men's very early. This can be one path. For me, it's more like, let's create a real youth environment and let's send the boys as often as possible to the European environment and let them compete there and let them see, feel how real football in their own age group looks like we had last week in England. Yeah, when the boys came to Liverpool or to the youth side infrastructure there, then with these big eyes, and I think this motivates them to be tomorrow even better on the pitch.
Before I'll ask next one, we quite often argue, but this is like a stupid argument because there's no like black and white there, but if you compare two let's say ways in improvement, one is like going abroad into academy as soon as possible. The other one is to stay here and to develop here to get into the best clubs and then get a transfer. Which one would you choose?
I would choose, me personally, the way to move early as possible abroad. But there are plus and minuses. So that, like you said, it's not black and white. Of course, to make a step here into men's football in less competition and maybe make a direct transfer into a men's team is maybe also a good way. But how many players actually get the chance then? So if you have the chance with 16 to go into this environment, to learn more, to see more, I would rather choose this way, I would say, even if there is no guarantee. Like, I mean, the earlier you go, the earlier you can come back. Also, that's the reality. And the competition in these academies, of course, is also higher than it maybe it is here in Estonia. Yeah.
All right.
So pluses and minuses.
In Estonia, we have different stories. For example, Karl Jakob was 16, went Arsenal Academy as soon as possible. Now he's the La Liga goalkeeper.
Yeah.
In the other hand, we have Karol Mets, who was over 20, played in Estonian higher league, then went to Norway, and now is also in the Bundesliga. Different stories, the same outcome.
As you can see, he's defending his.
Absolutely.
No, but I think it's the same what we said. Like both paths can be good and can be right.
Yeah, it also depends on the player, like physical. I don't know, like there's a lot of factors, obviously, but it's just like if you had to choose one, that's it.
I would. I come from more from the youth perspective, so I know the differences. I think in the academies in Estonian football. That's why I would say if you have a good academy, which really believes in you, and you get a good environment. And I think there have been quite a lot of transfers to clubs who do not have like a real good youth academy. Then you should not do it. But if you're like Patrick Kistel, FC Köln, I think good environment there for him. So I believe that is a good step for him.
But how it will, like you said, you want to improve players so they can like become obviously better players and go abroad. Like, is it like, let's say, how realistic it is that it will raise somehow their, like, I don't know, not price but skills, and how like to go abroad, like for them it's still like Estonia probably, like it doesn't matter, is it like ETP project or a club?
But first of all, the level of the training is much higher just due to the environment. I mean, we bring the best boys together, that is one fact. We have the full pitch, we have 40 balls on the pitch, we have 5 coaches on the pitch, experienced good coaches, not just the number. I think that's one thing. We have a physio on the pitch, we have a goalkeeper coach on the pitch, so this just creates an environment of high standards of quality. This is one side. I have a good example, what can make a difference. No one has a guarantee for it, of course. We went to a tournament with the 2010s group and in Poland, and we managed to beat Liverpool. One of the players who has, with his club, never been abroad, never, like Lithuania I think was the maximum, well Latvia was the maximum, sorry, was a starting 11 player and played very well. And now managed to beat Liverpool. He came with this shiny eyes from the pitch and with a smile and said like, wow, we beat Liverpool. And maybe this boy starts now a little bit more believing in his career and in his path and working a little bit more harder. So we are, of course, with this ETP project, we are just a very small part of the puzzle But if that's maybe in the end like this 2%, 3%, 5% we need to bring 1, 2, 3, 4 more players abroad, then I think we are successful.
Right.
And if not, then we at least gave the boys a lot of nice experiences.
That's true.
That's like how many Estonian boys have played in Liverpool, in Manchester, against Bayern Munich, and so on and so on. Yeah, so this is something what the boys will probably remember for their whole life.
I once played against a random English club. They said it was like 18th or something, but no proof were given. So,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we won them. So no one is complaining about 7 a.m. trainings.
It definitely like requires or demands a high commitment. Yeah, but how can we expect to have success if we are not willing to work a lot? I mean, it is what it is, and if you want to reach a higher level, then you have to do more than others. And this hard work ethic, I think it's needed for the boys, of course, and for the coaches as well, to wake up at 6:30 or whatever. Like, it is different. But if you want to reach something, then that's life, I would say.
5 coaches, 40 balls, whatever, like the full pitch. Who's paying for this? And how much?
Yeah. First of all, we have supporters. That's one thing. Not enough. So that's always, I think, in football.
Not as big as
Yeah.
we stay humble with our sponsor today because it's a youth project. But
Yeah, that's true. So we have a trainings block has 9 sessions, 9 trainings per block, and we send out invoice to the parents about 130 euros for these 9 training sessions.
okay, 130 per session. Okay.
Yeah. But no one is getting rich here with this whole thing. So if you think about usually youth coach's free time is in the morning. And if we see now the 5 guys who have been here in the morning, they wake up at 6:30 or something like this to be here on the pitch. And if I talk for myself, my first training today was at 7:30, and my last training will start at 7. So I will be home at 9 o'clock, whatever. And meanwhile, I stay here. So the commitment of the coaches and the motivation of the coaches is, first of all, a very important thing. And this shows that everyone wants to support their boys. And every coach is getting the same very small salary for their trainings. So no one is getting rich, we just cover the costs. And if a family is not able to pay this money, then there is no reason, then we do not ask for the money. Same for the trips, we were always capable of supporting the trips overall, so to lower the overall costs for everyone. And there were some cases, or are some cases, where the families are not well off. I mean, this is like a realistic life. Then we even lower the whole payment.
So let's say a random club has a talented guy, but let's say family, maybe like a big family, they don't have enough money or whatever, and that no one hasn't been left out because of that.
No, this is one of the reasons why we're doing it, and why we want to get the money, and that it's not pay to play. This is something. It's a weakness of Estonian football. I mean, in academies you travel around the world or around Europe, and the players do not have to pay a single cent. And here, if I take Nõmme United, we are probably the groups who are traveling the most in Estonia right now. If we talk about the budget of the families, that's quite a lot of money. But our clear purpose, no one is left out because of money.
How expensive? How many trips you have? And they are probably also parents are paying for them, right?
Yeah. So we have the plan is, and so far it has worked out, that after every block, 9 training sessions, we go somewhere. So with the 2012s, we have been to Poland, to Holland, to England. With the 2010s, we have been to Poland, to England. Then with the 13s, we're in Germany. The 2014s, actually not a group. We do not have them right now. I just got an invitation to a tournament. And this is a nice story in my opinion. We do not have a 2014s group. I got the invitation. I spoke to the Nõmme United coach. He contacted the coaches of Levadia, Viimsi, and Kalev. We had a gathering here. These 4 clubs working together, just talking about the squad. Who are we going to take? no money, like for any coaches, just the coaches were motivated to go there. They have been last week now to Germany, and from what I've heard, it was a really great experience to play against Ajax, against Bayern, Manchester United, and so on. And what else can we expect than these clubs working together like that?
So are you getting invitations because of your contacts, or it's like
no, it depends. Like I have quite good contact, of course, in Germany, Holland, Belgium. This is or Poland as well. This is where I bring the players mainly through Ragnar Klavan. Now we managed to go to Liverpool and Manchester. So everyone is giving his best to get something good out for the boys. Next trips are already planned, but they are not fully confirmed. So.
We need to say this disclaimer, this is not a political episode, because it will go after the elections, so no one will say that we're bringing... It's not about Klavan right now, yeah.
No, for me also not at all. I mean, he's not a part as a president or not a president or whatever. It's just like supporting the youth side.
Yeah, it was just a side joke, don't worry. Okay. What I wanted to ask is that another thing which I heard about your project is that Nikita Martynov, who I said, he's like, let's say, a beginner agent as well. So some people say like, okay, this is a project for Nikita to get some youth talents, so he can later start his career with like talented Estonian players.
I think that's not the purpose behind it at all.
But
no, but my English is not that good, so I have to think of it longer. No, but it's not the purpose. Let's say so, but. No, I said about good. That's good.
we got you.
But for example, one player reached to Liverpool. Yeah. Is there any income to ETP or?
Right now, not. The money, the rights of the players stay with the club. That's clear. We want to support it. Yeah, that's why I also said that. But we want to bring the players actually out. So we are not an agency. It's not our purpose to sell the players like this. We just want to connect them to the clubs and so on. And if there is, at some point, we manage to have like this good connections and there is some money coming back to the ETP project, of course it would be nice for us. But right now we are not that far, and we are also, it's not our next plan to work like this, but to connect the players to the clubs without some random agencies in between who we do not know and the players do not know. Just some, like, the clubs are doing all the works, but in the end the agency is getting the big money. This cannot be the target.
Okay.
Yeah. So we want to be somewhere in the middle to support the players and to connect the players to the clubs. And this is not an agency. We are just trying to put the players in a better spot.
All right. One question which needs to be asked: have you had any like issues with this project? I mean, like issues from some clubs. I don't know. Maybe even our football federation, because our football. Okay, I have a better question actually. Isn't this conflicting with like youth national teams?
I would say not at all. In the end, it's good for everyone. Because the more these players are together, the better the level gets. We had a good meeting with the technical director, with the national team coaches. We sat together, we discussed all the things. So it's clear that if there's a national team gathering, we have like the annual calendar, then we do not train or we do not travel somewhere. We had this conflict now of dates, but that was because of the late communication of the federation. So we were clear that now the players go to England and not playing Southern Finland. We were all on the same track, that this is now like a big thing for them. But overall, good communication with the federation. So from our side, and I think from federation side at all, no problem. The main issue, I think, is the load management. Because, of course, let's take today as an example. Now Nõmme United has tomorrow the Baltic League semi-final against Riga. Means today, of course, the players can't fully train. And this happened in, like, for the different clubs, there's a league game during the week or they had intensive training. So we need to have a good communication with the clubs that we manage the load in a proper way. I think this is especially for 2010s, for the 13s and 12s, that it doesn't matter too much. The boys are not that mature yet. But for 2010s especially, there we have to have the best communication with the clubs to handle the load.
What's the oldest, at some point probably this project doesn't make any sense if he's like, how old?
2010 is the last age group, and we see already there now some difficulties. Some of the boys are already some part of the men's teams, and then there is maybe less openness. It's the same like you asked before, there is no black and white. I think you can see it from different angles. But currently 2010, so under 16, but the most boys playing under 17 league or higher, or even like men's football already, is their oldest age group. And this will be most probably also the last year for them. Yeah, and then we're taking the next younger age group and we continue with the 4 teams, and step by step, this is the longer plan.
All right. Do you have anything on ETP projects?
Actually, I'd like to ask one more about academies. Do you see any difference between maybe German top academies and maybe Italian academies?
I do not have the full overview about Italian academies, so of course I think the German structure and Dutch structure and so on, I can talk quite a lot. If we see it from the Estonian point of view, then I would say none of the, at least from what I know, and I'm not a fully expert in this, none of the boys who went to Italy had a good outcome. Or am I wrong?
I think not a very good outcome.
Yeah. At least not in Italy, at least.
Yeah. Yes.
But it would not be right for me to speak too much about Italian academies. I do not know the background there too much. If we talk about the Italian league, then it's probably more difficult to make a step into this environment, I would say so, than compared to the Dutch league, or in Belgium. I think these are maybe the more realistic steps for a player. Also, like FC Köln, but they still last year second league without they were not allowed to make any transfers due to this restrictions they had. Maybe a good environment to make a realistic step, easier than at Borussia Dortmund probably, who want to become champion year by year.
Okay, but which footballers should like to race in ETP? If I'm thinking about Germany, traditional footballer, then I think about very disciplined, physically strong, can run over 12, 13 kilometers per match. Which elements you wanna see?
You mean like Musiala and Wirtz and Toni Kroos and so on?
I mean Philipp Lahm, Toni Kroos, Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Okay, I think times have changed a bit. German football also got much more technical than it has been maybe in the 90s or 80s, where we just came maybe more about fighting. Discipline for me is definitely a topic, and I would say I'm a typical German, that we are being on time, bringing your stuff properly.
You have that voice, you have the typical German coach voice as well.
Yeah. I spoke to Trevor Hint, who is now at under 17 in Wolfsburg, from Nõmme, one of the main talents I think in Estonia right now, and he said that German coaches for him seem to be aggressive, and for me I can't understand it at all. I mean, I would say we are passionate. Of course, we are more louder, for example, but this is not aggressive. It's more enthusiastic and so on. But this, of course, there is a difference in the cultures. I would say overall we have to raise the average technical quality, the game speed. These are the main points, because standing in a low block and just defending the goal and let's hope for a 0-0 or something like this, or this 1-2 transition moments. This is not what we want to do. So if we go abroad with ETP, then we want to play. And if we concede one more goal, then it is what it is. But we are not with 11 in the back and just defending a low block. So we do not have this one purpose. Okay, we want to create now the next right back. I think this is not realistic. Let's make the players step by step
because we're
better.
lacking them.
Yeah. What do we not like? What do we not like? What do we not like in Estonian football?
But we lack everyone. But why don't we have those fullbacks? I don't understand. Right back, left back. Estonian football.
But I'm not so into this men's football in Estonia, and I do not see too many games of the Premium Liga or the national team and so on. But in the past, who has been successful? Who made the good steps abroad? I think it was mainly goalkeepers and central backs. Mm-hmm. These were the most successful, at least. At some point there was Andres Opa as a striker. I don't know who else. These are just the names I know. That's a good question. But I do not see a main reason why not the fullback should be good from Estonia or like a number 6. Of course, players have to, I think, search for a higher possibility. We have right now the case here that one of our good players sees himself more like offensive, and right now it looks like that he maybe steps more to right back, because where do you have less competition? Where are your real strengths in? And of course in Estonia maybe it's easier for a good boy to be a number 10 and to be the creative guy, but if you go then to Spain and then you see like small crazy technical players, are you really then still competitive against those boys as a number 10? Maybe not, but maybe as a right back. You never know. Yeah. So we want to produce players, or bring players out who not just goalkeepers.
Yeah.
No. I'm working for Maibaum, so I can't say anything about goalkeepers.
Let's hope we don't need a goalkeeper for the next 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Injuries and so. But all right, like maybe we should slowly go to the like overall. You can always add something from ETP if you remember, but something caught my ears when we were like coming here. You said that when you are like, let's say, trying to not to sell, but you're talking about some good Estonian players. Then foreign academies or clubs, there's like Estonia is not that good.
Yeah, something what I underestimated definitely when I came here, and I thought like, I have quite many good contacts, and then we started like connecting. Like I said, we want to push the players to get the chances for trials and so on. As long as I speak to the coaches and they know me personally, of course, then it's like, interesting, and they trust me when I say, listen, I'm a very good number 6, technically good, and show them some clips of some games, then it's okay. And as soon as the scouting department, technical department gets involved, things getting much more difficult. And I have the feeling, at least, there's like a stamp, like Estonian, because then it's like, we know the market, and it's not so interesting. So one of the reasons with ETP is more good results we get, and if I can tell, listen, we have managed to beat Liverpool in the tournament, we have managed to beat Inter Milan and Manchester United, then maybe clubs starting more believing in us and the boys that, of course our best 3, 4, 5 players are good enough to play abroad, no doubts about it. And they just have to get the chance.
But that's interesting. We have sometimes discussed as well. Like you see, like in Premium Liga, like Paide brings an African player. He's a good like quality player. Obviously, he plays like 13 games, scores goals. He's out. He's out to Europe. Like let's say similar qualities Estonian player. It's much harder to get out, and I'm always like asking, what's the? It can't be like he's not that bad, right? So there must be something with Estonian players.
Yeah,
why Europeans don't like.
But I mentioned we would have now like a small country who is like a top player. Norway is not that small, but just to think in a bigger way, imagine we would have Erling Haaland from Estonia. Then the next 5 strikers have also an easier life. So we have to set like examples. And if the first 2 players getting very good, we are talking about very good players. I mean, then the other one have maybe an easier life. And these boys start believing in their career, in their path. Like if they have like these real idols and role models, then they know where to work on at like what was the main target. Yeah.
Like we had Ragnar Klavan, for example, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think for the boys last week, traveling with him was a big thing, and we pushed them to be not shy, to ask and to speak about his career and so on, to listen to him. But Ragnar Klavan is not Erling Haaland. Without making his career smaller, it's like a big thing. But I mean, a centre back is rarely has the same status as a 10 or as a striker, as a right wing, like some very technical guy or something.
So that's why we need attacking players to push like 1-2 on the top level. So
I would say that definitely has an impact. Yeah, that has an impact. Start like believing in the things here.
Yeah, but I think it's the same in Uzbekistan. Nobody took seriously Uzbekistan, but now the centre back is in Manchester City.
Yeah. Let's say Georgia.
Do you still take Uzbekistan seriously? Or?
No, but I think the football market will be.
Georgia is maybe a bigger example.
Scale, yeah.
For example, they have like one top player and some others as well, like playing in top leagues. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that we at some point get this top player from Estonia abroad.
So Estonian youth football, we're here. Thomas, let's start from positive things. one good thing which surprised you positively. Like really. You're in Nõmme United. Come on, you're in the best club, one of the best youth clubs.
I know you can like one of the best. You can like let it out and just. You want to say the best.
And what has changed from that time you arrived?
Oh, quite a lot. What has changed? Definitely quite a lot. So what I like, first of all, I start differently. If you come from Germany, I think German culture always has this thing that we anyway think we know everything. And I think it's a typical mid-European thing, and Germans, especially if you see the politicians, then it's also we know everything and we know how it goes. So I do not want to say that I am always like this, but I came here and definitely thought like, oh, I'm very strong youth coach. And obviously, and I hope it's obviously, I have my strong sides, but seeing the coaches here in Nõmme United, we have very good guys, like with a very good knowledge. So the coach's quality, I can just speak for Nõmme United, is definitely good. So and we have also passionate coaches who are willing to do quite a lot. This was definitely a very positive thing. Also, we have these boys who are willing to be here every day and to work hard for their dream. This was actually one of the topics I have directly changed, because when I came, I had one player who sent me his week plan. He has a personal week plan, and I think he had around 18 hours of trainings. I can't remember, it was 16 or 18 or something like this. And there was a football training today, then there was like a physical training and this and that, and it was not balanced at all. And so I started with like, okay, please the players, if you want to have any additional training, then let me know. And I used like a water glass and a water bottle as an example, like I'm the coach and I fill in water and water. But if I do not know that there is another bottle like filling in, or somebody else filling water with another bottle, then at some point the glass will flew over, is the right word. So that's there are plenty of topics like we try to change, and a lot about professionalism. That's for me the main thing. With Nõmme, we have increased the number of training hours overall, but better managed. Yeah, this is important. We have now 3 physical trainings for the 2010s, for example. We have video in every week and so on, pre-match meetings. So just the mindset of the boys that we have to work a lot, that we have to do a lot if we want to have another outcome. I mean, I like this sentence, but there is a definition of stupidity if you always do the same but hope for a better outcome. Yeah, and this is what I think we have to change the things, and we have to do things a bit differently to a better outcome.
Mm-hmm. That's a best quote about something which we like. All right, maybe you can bring out some other like well, obviously we'll say like they're doing a lot of other clubs are doing a great job, but I remember at some point there was like probably club Legion, yeah. This is just an example. I don't want to blame anyone, but at some point there were some players in the national team from Legion, and say were praising their like say academy, their work and so on. Now there's not that much, but what I want to ask is that they are fully like result oriented. I know, like from the 6 years old, 8 years old. How do you feel about this approach?
Yeah, we just had on the weekend a tournament here, and me and my assistant coach, we talked about it. It was 2013, 7 aside, so 7 versus 7, and if you just count the passes or the dribblings we have managed to bring on the pitch, and compared to the opponents, like we conceded a goalkeeper goal. So the goalkeeper took the ball and shot in our goal, and it was like a big event for the opponent. This is result orientated, and I like to win as well. And I think we have to be all in to win, but not about every price. Is it the right English? You understand what I mean? Like let's be all in. Let's try to win, but let's always try to play the better football. And this is, I think, very, very important. So it's not like kicking the ball long and let's go for it. The best goal is if we manage to dominate the opponent. Yeah.
But are your players will be ready when they go to the men's senior football, and then no one will care about your session? The first coach will say, "I don't care. I need result, or I will be fired." Are they going to be ready for that?
That's what I said. We want to win and we want to compete, and this is, I think, something what Estonian football has to learn. Yeah, Nikita Matyonov's favorite word, I think, is competing. When we go somewhere, and the boys have to get this mentality. We are here to to be there, to be all in, to show ourselves. But if the boys do not learn in youth football to play with the ball, then they will never manage like to reach a highest level. I think these are things that they have to be united and to go hand in hand. Because if a 14 years old boy learns to kick the ball deep, just the ball deep and sprinting behind, then how should he play in the Spanish league or in German league where they want to play football? And with every second first touch is away, then
He'll play in Kuressaare. That's good.
yeah, but this is not what. Of course, in the end, if not everyone, by far not everyone will go abroad. We are talking about like in best case, there's 5 players now, but like of this whole project, step by step in years. But most of the other boys will probably play some Premium Liga, and the better we work right now, the clubs, mainly of course in ETP as well, the higher the overall level gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name me one thing which is so elementary for you, but is not done in Estonian football.
Well, I could speak about a lot of things, yeah.
No, name one. For the start, name one.
For me, the absolutely main point, I think, without one real academy, without one club or the federation, whoever is taking the leadership, something what we are doing now, maybe step by step it can get bigger, and we do not want to take anything away from the clubs, but as long as we do not gather the best players regularly, I think we will not change the whole thing in a bigger picture. Because the boys staying in the Estonian environment very long and do not travel too much, not every training on the highest level. Every training is a bit less than the boys in the academy. Every training is a bit less than the boys in big football countries. And every time a bit less is in the end a lot of things less, or a lot of space in between. That's why this would be for me one main thing that the whole football culture has to be changed in this direction a bit. Competitiveness, I think that's another word, and not to mess up or mix up competitiveness with personal. Like you said, Estonians are taking things quite quick, personal. I think that's another thing. But if we talk about competing and becoming the best, then there is a tension. But this is football and this is life, I would say. On the pitch and off the pitch, we can be very friendly. But when we talk about, for example, about transfers, then we should think always in the players' belief or in the players' purposes. What is the best environment really for a player? And there is no pyramid. I mean, every club can talk about themselves, oh, we are so good, because the history is not that that long. And then the idea is, oh, we're letting the 12-year-old boy playing with the 14-year-old boys, and that's it. And then he has to play against bigger boys, but not with more talented boys. And this is what the clubs do not understand, that there has to be like kind of pyramid, and there are these like 3-4 clubs working on the highest level, and there's also like a grassroots club who's just there to let a lot of players play. Then I think we are slow and not effective enough.
Yeah. Do you have anything about youth football?
Maybe first thing you'd like to change immediately for the next step to grow Estonian youth football?
Much more money inside. Yeah, that would be, of course. In the end, it's all about money. I mean,
But do you think like clubs are not like bigger clubs are not putting that much effort into youth club, or what do you mean by more money?
do the clubs really have the money to put more in? I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm asking about how do you feel? I don't.
No, I think overall there's not that much money inside the whole business, the football business, that clubs could pay now. For example, let's use that players do not have to pay for the trips, and we are still managing to go once a month abroad. That's who should pay it. I mean, it always comes down to the parents. The same with the coaches. We just discussed in our trip in England, like, it's correct. We are saying like, oh, the left back doesn't have the proper heading technique. What do we do against it? And then we discussed it, but even me, somebody who's working like, I think a lot. When should I work with this player now individually on it? We do not have technical coaches like separated, just the specialists. Yeah, and I have two teams My assistant coach has 2 teams, and so on. When should we have the time? That's why we are doing this ETP project, that we can actually work on those topics. That we can make maybe work a little bit more on the details, but all about money. Imagine I would have just 1 team and 2 assistant coaches. Then we could work on a daily basis with the player and the way how it should be done. But without money,
Estonian football
difficult.
needs sugar daddy.
Yeah, that would be good.
You train on this artificial pitch,
Yeah.
but are you going on the actual grass?
That would be nice, but I think not so easy possible. I think we do not have enough grass pitches here in Estonia. Maybe I have to negotiate with Maibaum that we are allowed to go there as well. I mean, last week we had 2 games on artificial grass in England, and I think the boys now smelled how nice it could be to play on grass, yeah. Especially if the grass has the quality as it had last week. But yeah, unfortunately.
So how is this
we say-
artificial? Do you like it, or it's like?
Overall, of course, how can we expect boys to play at some point on top level on grass pitch if the whole youth work is done or the whole youth life is spent on artificial grass? I mean, this pitch is average in Estonia, I would say. It's not great and it's not worse. Yeah, it would be definitely much better for the boys if we could spend much more time, especially during summers on real grass. Yeah.
How about infrastructure? Are you happy with pitch? Nõmme United has more like free times, and you don't have every year, I think.
And we're changing. Now we have on 11 against 11. We have every age group.
Okay.
11 against 11 age group, and in the younger age groups we are also changing it. That we have, I think the only age group, if I'm not fully wrong, we do not have right now is 2015s. There we have just a couple of players. Yeah.
But my point is that okay, maybe you have like more space to train, but some clubs have to share like 4 groups in one pitch, and that's also like how can you? There was like this thing when. Someone talked about this Nimega or something.
It was the reserve team.
A reserve team, they couldn't have any chance before the season to even train 11 against 11. How can you actually play 11 against 11 if you don't have like a chance to train?
As you said, we fortunately do not have this problem. I mean, with the 2010s, for example, we have once a week the full pitch, or twice a week even the full pitch, then twice half of the pitch. So this is absolutely fine. Even in quite many academies, it's not better that you have the half of the pitch. With the 2012s, I have also always half of the pitch at least. So here it's not a big problem, but of course, how can you, I don't know, expect a player to play good chip passes with the left foot if he has maximum 30 minutes to play and there are like 20 other players on the pitch. Yeah, so you can't, how can you expect a player to have the volumes of runs if he is not used to run sprints also 60 meters because they just have 40. Yeah. So of course it sets limits if you never have more space.
And next question is quality of the pitches, of the surfaces.
Yeah.
Is that a problem for you?
After coming back from England, yeah. No. Yeah. Football-wise, it's one thing. Of course, the ball always a bit bumpy, yeah. And then even the dry artificial pitches, a bit older ones, at some point the ball goes up, yeah. This definitely affects the game a bit. And maybe the bigger reason is the pitches are now all quite old. Most of the artificial pitches are old, quite hard. So if you have the players growing, then we have a lot to do with Schlatter, the growing stuff, or with the heel. I think if it would be more on the grass pitch, yeah, or having like softer, newer artificial pitches, then we would have less this kind of problems.
True. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have.
Maybe you have something to speak out about youth football and in general, or we touched every question you expected us to touch.
No, overall.
Are you happy in Estonia? Like working in Estonia, are you happy?
Pluses and minuses. I'm not I'm overall like an emotional guy in this question. I think not. It's in a way it's a job. I feel comfortable with the people around me. I think that's a positive thing, and I think we have quite many. We have created a good environment here. Never done, like never finished. I mean, we have still so much more to do, and we are trying to push the things hard. Overall, I think Estonia is a nice country. I like it here. That's for sure.
Don't you miss that the same thing watching in Germany? It's every weekend is a big game. Everyone is shouting about it. Here, you don't hear when it's like a big game. It's...
Of football culture-wise, of course, like fans, even youth, like you have these games when we played with Borussia against Dortmund, against Schalke. Every week was our daily business. But of course, there's something what influenced the players as well. Like Borussia is, I take my former club as an example. Then the boys went on the weekends to the games and watch then in the stadium live how Borussia plays against Bayern, and they see Lewandowski and Robben and Ribéry and whoever, Sané. So this makes, of course, a difference.
By the way, don't you think like Nõmme United youth players should go to the Nõmme United senior team?
They're doing, not everyone and every week, of course, but they are doing in a way. But of course, they're not fans. I mean, it's not like.
But that's a problem a bit, no? You don't find it?
It would be better if it's the other way around, but. I think the level is not high enough overall that the boys are real fans, especially if they come to a certain age. I mean, even the top clubs in Estonia, like Estonian football, are they real fans? I mean, is there a real football culture here in Estonia?
No, you're offending this boy here.
Hey, no. It's very true, absolutely. In
Yeah,
Estonia,
of course, for a little kid, like he sees, I don't know, Ronaldo or Haaland or Mbappe, he's like, who these guys are here. But I think, like, in general, this is my opinion, that clubs could do a better job with this, like promoting their senior teams, maybe to introducing, like, even like, I don't know, maybe inviting over some first team squad to trainings or whatever.
We did it. Last year, this is something what we did. For example, we had players from the first team in our trainings. I think in my Esiliiga, Tribüün last year, it was anyway like a bit different than it is now. Yeah.
Maybe it's not even that much question to you because you haven't played on this Premier League level that much. It's maybe a question more to Flora, to Levadia, because they are constantly top teams. But I think it's in general in Estonian football.
But if I take my I'm a hockey fan, ice hockey fan. Yeah, and when I was a 6 years old boy, my dad took me. We went first time to hockey, and I went into the hockey stadium, and there were the drums singing, the whole stadium full. Like not big, it was like 6,000, yeah. But the atmosphere, that was what catched me straight away. But if you go to an Estonian game, then there's no atmosphere. Even national team, there's no atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So it's a fan culture. Yeah. But this, I don't know how it's possible to create. Difficult.
That's what we miss, and we do whatever it takes to make it better. But I think like if you don't have anything to add from yourself, we always give this free speech to our guest. You're the guest now, even though we're here. Our main listeners are fans, just football fans, regular fans. Of course, Maibaum will listen to this as well. Yeah. Then to write down
nothing critical to say.
But you have like free microphone just to speak out to whatever you want to say in the end to the guys.
No, overall, I think everyone who wants to support the Estonian youth football is very welcome. In whatever way it is. I mean, every company with their items or goods, what they can support with financial support. I think we are trying to do it without any financial background, with any financial purposes or goals behind it. Just making the whole Estonian football better or the youth football better. And if someone is interested to support the whole thing, then we of course are very welcomed. And let's work together. I think that's the most important thing. The clubs as well, and they should not be. Nobody should be afraid that we are doing something against their will in a way.
Okay, good. I actually hoped a bit that you will say like, for the parents, don't shout too much during the matches, or don't be a coach. We are a coach.
Okay, but this is, I think, coach's job. I mean, like, and I did none of the players. Like for my teams, at least, and I think from the other team as well. Not
you don't have parents who are interrupting you. Okay,
not at all. I think we are quite strict in this, and every coach who believes in himself should be like this. I mean,
but you have seen this in Estonia,
but in Germany as well. I mean, even worse than it is here, I would say. Yeah, the lower the level gets in Germany, they're more involved, and also a culture thing. Germans are louder, as we have already noticed, and maybe more outgoing. And Spanish as well, they are more involved than it is even here. So, for me, not a special Estonian thing.
So it's not that bad as we think. So Thomas, thank you very much for having this time with us.
Thank you for having me.
Wish you all good luck, and thank you for listening. And if you have any other questions, he will stalk the YouTube under this comments, and he will reply probably if he has time after the work.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.